Please unmute Dr. Borse. Please unmute Dr. Borse. He is going to take the actually handle the session today.
Good afternoon, madam. I hope
Yeah,
I'm audible.
good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, yes, audible, audible.
Yeah, thank you.
A very good afternoon to you, Arvind sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Chiranjeev.
How are you, sir?
I am fine. Yes. How are you?
Good, good, sir.
Very
Good.
well?
Good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Gaurav, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
So, sir, with your prior permission, can we start with the session?
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Please
Yeah,
begin the session.
yeah, Borse, sir, please proceed. Borse, sir, unmute, sir. Borse, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Now they have one. Ma'am, can I be made the co-host? Otherwise, every time this.
Yes, yes, yes. Sir, please, Gaurav, sir.
You have been with the co-host.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to the dignitaries and welcome all the participants for the session one of this today's session, day 3. We are having a very renowned personality with us, Professor Arvind Tiwari sir. Professor Arvind Tiwari sir is the Dean School of Law, Rights and Constitutional Governance at Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, TIS Mumbai. Sir is a well-known criminologist and a scholar in criminal justice and forensic science, human rights, Police Studies and Public Security, Criminal Law and Access to Justice, Victimology, Youth Justice, and Crime and Development. After successfully completing BA and MA with gold medal, Sir has completed PhD in Criminology and Forensic Science at Dr. H.S. Gaur, Central University, Sagar, Madhya Pradesh. Sir has published several articles in peer-reviewed journals and chapters in edited books. Sir has been engaged and associated with numerous public policy research projects in collaboration with TIS, Tata Trust, NPA, Ministry of Home Affairs, and BPRD, and many others. Sir has been associated with a number of projects, and currently Sir is the Dean, School of Law, Right and Social Rights and Constitutional Governance since 2015, and Chairperson, Center for Police Studies and Public Security at TIS. Sir has visited a number of foreign institutions under the faculty exchange programs and participated in a number of national and international conferences, workshops, training programs, and was a guest lecturer at various forums nationally as well as internationally. Sir is also a member of editorial board and board of referees of many peer-reviewed journals. Sir has been the former president of Indian Society of Criminology, and currently Sir is holding honorary position of vice chairman of Indian Society of Victimology. We are indeed privileged, proud, and honored to have such a distinguished personality with us as our resource person for this session. We welcome Professor Dr. Arvind Tiwari, sir, to deliver his session.
Thank you, Mr. Ashish.
Thank
And
you,
good afternoon to all the participants and the faculty colleagues from the college. Indeed, it is an honor for me to talk to the young colleagues and share my ideas, because ultimately, you know that we have the duty, the seniors have the duty to share their understanding and their experiences with the junior colleagues, so that they can also learn from that, and they can also add their knowledge and understanding and strengthen their research. Now, friends, you know, this how to write a good research proposal, that I thought I'll talk to you. Topic is very generic, but I thought that it is better to talk to you and try to understand from your perspective. Just a minute, I'll share the screen, and then yeah, can you see this?
No, sir. Yeah, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it visible on the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Visible.
Okay, fine. So you know that the whole idea is, and am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because we have to check this, you know, through
Yes,
online.
sir. Online.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you know that research, I'll tell you before we'll start our focus discussion, that three kind of dimension of research studies are there. One, if we'll see how to write a good research proposal to do PhD. Nowadays, you know that the MPhil is discontinued by under new education policy. So this is one. Number two is how to write a good research proposal for the funding agency, like ICSSR or any Ministry of Law and Justice or UGC or any source of funding, which would like to interest you any kind of research study, or you are willing to apply for a research project which is funded by some external agency. Third is how we can also develop a good research proposal for publication. It could be the articles, it could be the edited book, or something like this. So that these two would be little, you see, I will be talking little less. I'll be talking little more about this first area, that how to develop the good research proposal. Now, if I'll ask you, what is research? Research, we all know. In a simple way, it is asking questions and attempting to answer. Very simple. So that means research is an area. In any area, whichever area you would like to work, you first have some ideas, some questions in your mind, and then you are attempting or searching the questions the answer to those questions. So this is the research. Now, what is interdisciplinary research? You know that legal, this group is comprised with the all teachers from law, Kiranji, or what is their
No,
background?
sir. No, sir. From different.
So they are, this is the mixed
Yes,
group.
sir.
Mixed
Yes,
group.
yes.
Okay, okay. So you know that the interdisciplinary research is very important even in law also, because you know that law, like I'll come little later, what is legal education, justice education and all those. Now the law per se, if we will see, for example, the law is every day expanded and the interpretation of law is coming.
Sir, can I just interrupt?
Yeah,
I think there was some network issue. They are from different streams, sir. Not only from law.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, fine, fine, I understand. So,
Yes.
so they may be from social sciences
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and education, or maybe from any other
Yes.
stream.
Yes.
Right, exactly. Fine, thank you. So, you know that interdisciplinary research is required because the law is expanding through the international treaties, etc. International legal instruments are coming. Then, you know, the judicial interpretation of the laws and the statute. So things are changing. For example, if we'll see, suppose the gender justice. Now, if we'll see the Sabrimala case judgment. Okay, or Navtej Singh Johar judgment 377, where homosexuality is decriminalized. Now the law is fine. Law is a path breaking. This judgment is a path breaking judgment. Both judgment if you see. But so you can see the law is expanding, and this is coming towards the expanding the horizon of the gender justice. That the third gender also they are getting legal space and scope. So this is one dimension. But another dimension is this. Despite having this path-breaking judgment or significant judgment, what is the feasibility of implementation of this judgment by the implementing authorities and the society at large? So therefore, when we are saying research, I'll come little later how to choose a good research topic and all those things. I'll come little later. But I'm giving you the ideas that how the research, even in law, how it could be made little more wide, and it should not be restricted only to the doctrinal research. I will send this this PPT to the organizers, so you need not to worry for that. You can just go through this. So you know that why socio-legal research is required, because you see this will bring both theoretical and empirical analysis of the context of the law, any law which is you would like to examine. For example, if you want to examine juvenile justice related, if you want to examine regarding the custodial violence, I'll give more examples from victimology, human rights, and criminal justice. It could be any area for that matter. So the whole idea is that, like the socio-legal studies, when you are doing the scope is little wide. Like for example, what is the significance of socio-legal research? This is useful in formulating new theories, then also decision-making process. It will lead to the molding of the public opinion. As I said, like public opinion for regarding you see these kind of gender issues, caste-related violence, atrocities against you see children. If we will see the sexual exploitation of children, child rights violations, and all those, there are ample of areas. So therefore, socio-legal research is required for the reform at both levels. It could be at the legal reform, it could be at the social reform, religious reform, cultural reforms. Because you know that law is not existing in isolation. The laws which are formulated by the authorities, means by the legislature, they are also coming through the situation in the society, prevailing situation and the challenges. So you know that you may have heard about those who are from law, that legal education and justice education. Any idea to any of the participants? What is the difference between these two, or they are the same?
Whether they can unmute themselves, I don't know actually.
Acha. No,
Technical,
because
technical.
Kiranji,
Yeah.
I thought I'll make it little more interactive with the
No, sir,
participants.
that
But
is.
anyway, I can go on.
No,
That's
no,
fine.
sir. Sir, we can ask a technical team to unmute them.
Okay,
So,
so till then
yeah.
I'll continue.
So
Okay.
technical team, please.
Now participants can unmute themselves without an issue.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, sir. Thank you so much.
Tiwari sir, legal education and this access to justice is two different phenomena, as per my personal opinion. Am I audible?
You are audible. You are audible.
Yes.
Whatever we are teaching in law colleges,
Yeah.
somehow practically it is not that way reaching to the citizens of India. And obviously there is a clashes of interest, conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So theoretically we are teaching to the students. In
Yeah.
actual sense, that theory must be there in practice.
So
But
that,
unfortunately,
Yeah.
this is my perception.
right.
Whatever.
No, you are right. So you are right. You know, legal education is the education pertaining to laws, statutes, judgments, etc., and the legal thesis, etc. Okay, legal theory. But the justice education is matter of facts, which comes from the other sciences. So, for example, if you will see that the application of social sciences in law, or the vice versa. In social sciences research, the application of the law, so that without law you cannot analyze any kind of you see perspective until unless you are not analyzing the law. Okay. So therefore, what I'm saying that if you see the NEP, National Education Policy, and legal education or otherwise, it is saying that there is a need to have the multidisciplinary kind of approach in the teaching or research in all kind of disciplines. So anyway, I'll not discuss that. So you know that if we'll think of any research, so it could be the interdisciplinary legal research, doctrinal or non-doctrinal, or as I said you that you want to develop any research proposal. If you are a teacher in a college, you want to apply for some funding agency for funded research. So you have to prepare the proposal, and that also, or if you want to do any kind of research to assess the you see applicability of law or any judgment which is delivered by the court, you would like to see that up to what extent this is happening, or what are the roadblocks in that. For example, like if you see the honor killings, you know, there are several socio-legal, cultural problems in the society. So you, until unless you are not analyzing law and the context of the law where it is going to be applied, for example, in the society, the religious factor, the cultural factor, the social factors, why the nearest and dearest people, they are killing their own children. Honor killings. What is the honor in the killings? And why that honor is more important than the lives of the young people? There are several issues, caste atrocities, gender violence, several areas. So therefore, the whole idea which I would like to give you, that the research should be done in such a manner so that would be both having the legal perspective as well as also the the socio-cultural perspective. Now, empirical research is always important because until unless you are not, if you are not bringing the data and also examining the legal kind of framework, if you are bringing data, that will strengthen your reliability and validity in the research. So therefore, the use of software, SPSS package, and other kind of atlas analysis, various kind of techniques are there, like in quantitative data, how to analyze the quantitative data and use the statistical methods along with this. So therefore, when we say that the law means if broadly, I am taking examples, then I'll come to general. If you see functions of the law has a function for public order, political order, social order, economic order, international order. You may have heard public order maximum time. The police has the wide powers in terms of public orders. So therefore, this is necessary to understand that the law is not existing in isolation. Therefore, research, any kind of research or the social concept or any cultural perspective or any kind of, you see, idea, just a bit. Any kind of idea which you have to understand, you would like to measure some kind of, you see, for example, like social welfare. If you see, several welfare schemes are launched by every government. Whether these are reaching to the people, what is the legal framework, what is the loopholes in that scheme, and how it could be made more comprehensive, more reachable to the people, needy people to whom it is made. So research, when we say how to think of a research, because research is a, research is a very, very innovative kind of job. It is not a routine kind of task. Although in UGC nowadays, it has been made mockery by the law, by the rule, that all teachers, those who are in colleges, university, they must do PhD, otherwise without PhD, they will not get promotions and all those things. And therefore, sometimes the quality of PhD is questioned in many universities, in many places. So if you are to think to do the research, for example, first example we'll take, to do the research for your PhD degree, for doctoral work if you want to take. First, you have to think of a researchable topic. Topic could be anything, but whether that topic is researchable or not, that you have to understand. Because topics should not be too wide. For example, if you see that if you want to see, for example, the juvenile justice system in Maharashtra, an analysis or a study of the juvenile justice system in Maharashtra. Do you think this is a good topic for research purpose, individual research? If somebody wants to do PhD, what do you think? Any participant? Okay. So participant, be little more interactive. That's the idea, because you all are teachers or research scholars. Now, that may not be a good idea, good topic, because you cannot bring data and critical analysis in a focused manner. Because any research which has to be done, that should be done with a purpose. And the purpose is you are trying to analyze that phenomenon, the theories, as well as also you would like to also see that what kind of amendment has to be made in the law, or what kind of amendment to be made in the policies, and what could be the way forward for effective implementation of particular scheme or particular thesis, anything, any idea. So topic should be such which is researchable. Researchable in the sense means data may be available in that. If you are thinking a topic which may be a very good topic in terms of thinking, but you will not get the data, then it is very difficult to you to have a good analysis in your research. So therefore, first step in doing a good research study or developing a good research proposal is to select a researchable topic. Is it clear to participants? Say yes. I want to. ठीक है ना, आप लोग बोलते रहिए कुछ. Is it fine?
Participants, please interact.
Or otherwise, I will
Yes, sir.
continue. For me, it is not a problem. You know
Yes,
that.
it's clear, sir.
For us, speaking is not a problem.
Sir, they are interacting, sir. Sir, they will interact.
No. Why I am saying that, you see, this is a workshop. This is not the class where the teacher will come and continue to teach for 2 hours and get rid of. Okay. So researchable topic, as I told you, should be made in such a manner. You first think the broad idea. For example, again, I'll come to the juvenile justice. If you are thinking to do some research in juvenile justice, for example, now fine, the broad area is juvenile justice, but within juvenile justice, as I said, it may not be a good idea if you want to research on the juvenile justice system in Maharashtra or UP or Madhya Pradesh or any state for that, or India per se. Rather, you can also identify within this some kind of area at the micro level, which is related to the juvenile justice. So that you can examine the law, you can examine the policy, the rules, the implementation, and the other kind of, you see, inputs you can bring, and then you can elaborate that and come out with your some suggestions, which could be useful to the policymakers, to the NGOs, to the social workers, and the other stakeholders in the society, those who are dealing with. So if you will say, suppose in the juvenile justice system, if you would like to do the research, so there are two bodies. One is the Juvenile Justice Board, one is the Child Welfare Committee. There is the Special Juvenile Police Unit also. And then there are institutions. Children home, observation home, special school. So if you want to give little more focus on the correctional programs, what is happening in these homes, how is the life is there about of the children, what are these conditions, what kind of vocational education they are being offered, then you can choose the area of these homes, critical analysis of the home where the children are kept. Again, if you want to specify, you can come the child, child in conflict with law and the child in need and care and protection. Conflict with law means those who are committing crime. Earlier, they were called the delinquent children. So then if you want to focus a little more, then who are they, in which background they come from, why they are committing crime. Many of them, more than 70-80% are the school dropouts. Why it is? Then you can see the educational background, schools, what is the teaching pedagogy, whether the teachers are interested to teach students, why students are bunking the classes, all those factors you can bring when you are analyzing the factors which are criminogenic factors regarding the child in conflict with law. If you want to do the research on the Special Juvenile Police Unit, what is their job, how they are different? They are coming from the police force only, but they are deputed only to deal with the children. Ideally, they should get the training, and they should also get the special kind of, consideration to the children while dealing with them. So the topic should be very, very specific. Similarly, if you want to do topic from the criminal justice system. Now, criminal justice, if you will come, the police, the prosecution, the judiciary, and the correctional institutions, prisons. If you want to do the topic on police, the police is a huge area. You cannot do a study of the policing system in India. A lot of work is already done, reports are there. So what are you adding on? Except you will get the degree and you may get the job, or you may get the promotion, or you may get the increment. But that is not the purpose of the research alone. So therefore, the topic, for example, victimology or human rights. Now the victims' rights, what are the victims' rights? For example, if you will see the caste atrocities, the victims have been given a lot of rights. They have the right to get compensation. They have the right to be involved in their judicial process, etc. Or victims, we can say the victims of particular kind of custodial violence. Similarly, the human rights. So any area which you want to choose broadly from your expertise area, you should be very, very particular, do some kind of thinking, discuss with the like-minded people, teachers, visit the libraries, read material, and then only you can finalize your topic. Then once you will decide the topic, as I said that the topic should also be finalized looking into the kind of data. It is not necessary that always you should collect primary data, even good secondary data. And the critical analysis of that secondary data can be made a very good research system, very good PhD, I am telling. Nowadays, a lot of databases are there. If you can have very good analysis of that data, that is also a good area. So you have to first decide the researchable topic. Then, why are you doing the research? What is the significance of your research? As I said you in the beginning, are you doing just to say for sake of the degree, or to get promotion, or to get increment? I think that may not be sufficient. Your quest should be there to contribute something significant through your research, to analyze some perspective and bring out the problems in that area, and also what are the recommendations or suggestions emerging through your research. So ultimately that will be, because you know that a lot of public money is being spent on us in the higher education. We have also a social responsibility and ethical responsibility to contribute for the betterment of the society through policy modifications, or to adding on some kind of feeding material while formulating the policies or the laws. So the rationale or significance of the study should be done in this manner, that the research topic, once you will decide, and its significance, then literature review. You do literature review. Why one should do the literature? Literature review we should do primarily so that we can understand what kind of work is done so far. And literature review should be wide. It should be extensive in terms of like the web resources, the research papers in the journals, thesis in Shodhganga, book chapter in the books, etc., the laws, the government reports, or the report by NGOs, international bodies. So it should be done so extensively relating to that topic, so that you will have a fair understanding that what kind of work related to this area or related area has been done so far internationally nationally, regionally, or locally. And then you can call out the gap. What is the research? Where is the gap where much researches are not done in the area? And that would be one of your research areas, because now you know broadly what kind of researches are already being done or the publication is already there. Yes, Dr. Bose, you want to say something?
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Just my one question, sir. Since you are attending, it's a kind of workshop and you are inviting for the interaction.
Yes.
My one query that can you please give an example that what should be a researchable topic and what should not be a researchable topic? Can you give two examples of topic, because we want to involve ourselves practically to know.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You know, now my example again will come more from criminal justice. Okay. So I don't know whether that may be much relevant to you, but I'm saying what is researchable, what is not researchable. Right. What is not researchable? Suppose the topic I am choosing from criminal justice is study of terrorists involved in the XYZ terrorism activity. Right? Suppose this I am choosing broadly. Now, the area of terrorism is very important, or Naxalism. But the question is how much time, money, energy I am having. Number. Whether I have the feasibility of the data, if I would like to collect the data from the field, if I would like to, because researcher has to be involve himself with that kind of study, visit the field, talk to the concerned stakeholder, and try to get the detailed information, and that the analysis can be done. So if I do not have that kind of time, energy, resources, and the feasibility of the data, perhaps if suppose I would like to do a anthropological study of Naxalism or Naxalites, how can I get their accessibility? How can I go there? Some people can have the connectivity and they can even get the data, but many more cannot have it. So therefore, this cannot be a good topic for research purpose. But if you want, yes.
Sir, my follow-up question.
Yes.
That if I choose to take that topic, Naxalite, and I choose that is a research topic.
Yes.
So I may have thought that the data may be accessible to me.
Yeah.
If I can reach out to the Naxalites and get that data.
Yes.
So that may be a researchable topic for me.
That could be, of course. If you can reach out to them, because in Naxalite also, what do you want to study? You should be clear. Why they are going to the jungles and they are becoming rebellious? What are those?
I'll study their behavior. Now you are telling anthropological study, no?
Yes. Yeah. But it will not be possible for many researchers. So when I say good topic or not
in that context will not be a path-breaking research for me, because I
Definitely.
will be significantly contributing towards
Definitely. So when I am saying researchable topic, means researchable topic should be decided on the basis of these parameters: the availability of data, accessibility to the stakeholders, and availability of time, energy, and money with the scholar. That is most important. Right, Dr. Bose? Is it fine?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's the idea. So researchable topic, and number two, you cannot take a big kind of topic. You within that problem also you have to confine it to a particular kind of area. That why do they become they are joining the cadre? What are those compelling situations? So rather than analyzing the whole phenomena, you can focus on the micro level, and then you can do your work. So the whole idea of researchable topic is that the topic which you are choosing would be of your interest, number one. The broad area, as I said, gender studies, if somebody would like to do. If somebody would like to do a study in the related of human rights in criminal justice, that if you are interested in police or the correctional system or some victimology, so first you have to choose the broader area. Many times what happens that the broader area is either suggested by somebody else or sometime without giving much thinking, the researcher is choosing the topic and later on gets the difficulty, caught in the problems. So therefore, this is very important. Then, after culling out the research gap, you should be clear that what kind of research. So literature review is clear to all of you. Why are we doing literature review? Because some researchers are doing very selectively literature review. Whatever is available. You have to visit to the different libraries. You have to see the web resources. You have to read the interdisciplinary journals. Many researches I have seen at the PhD level. There is a lacuna that they are not referring to the interdisciplinary kind of research journals and the latest publications. Mainly they are relying either on the chapters in the book or some web resources or whatever is pick and choose kind of thing, whatever is available within the limited resources, then they are doing this. So therefore, I said in the beginning that time, energy, money, these three things are very important in the research. How much time you have? One should make the target for that, that I would like to complete my research within 3 years. 2 years is the minimum age you all know. So that is important. Then you have to find out the hypothesis or research questions. Okay. So you will have the objectives and then you will have the research questions. That you should have very focused kind of objectives. And then you will have the hypothesis. If this is the exploratory research study, for example, you are exploring something. No much research has been done so far. You cannot formulate the hypothesis. The hypothesis is the generalization, some tentative statement. For example, if you will take the example from juvenile justice, that if one hypothesis you want to make could be most of the children, those who are committing crime, or juvenile, those who are committing crime, they are the school dropouts. If suppose this is the hypothesis, this can be proved or disproved. So when you collect the data, so because a lot of work has been done, you can formulate the hypothesis on the basis of the literature and the work done. If the work is not done in much in that area, and then if you are exploring or you are exploring from the theoretical point of view, you want to examine some theory, then research questions would be enough. You need not to prepare the hypothesis. Then you have qualitative and quantitative kind of research design or the data. So now if you will say quantitative method, if you are using, then you have to analyze a lot of data. You have to collect data. This is a question of numbers. And you are analyzing your results on the basis of the data which you have collected, or you are borrowing from the secondary sources. But the qualitative is little contrary to that. Qualitative means to understand the sample to whom you are collecting the data. It could be the case study method. It could be the FGD, focus group discussion. It could be the observation. It could be the in-depth interview. Because, for example, if you want to do the study on the custodial violence, and you want to study the victims of custodial violence. Custodial death, you will not get the victim, but in the violence, you can get the victim. Then if you want to understand, if you want to do research on this, you can talk to those people, you can talk to other stakeholders, those who are related to this. You can try to understand that what is the behavior pattern of the law enforcement agencies when the person was arrested. And what is the psyche of the law enforcement agencies, and who are these people, those who are coming, those who are the victims of the custodial violence. Why it is happening. Then you can understand the subculture of the police, the faulty training, or the political interference, anything which comes to that through your analysis. Similarly, for the victim also, if you want to understand the victim's perspective, victim perspective you will see. Now the law is amended and the victim compensation is awarded by the courts or by the human rights commissions or different other commissions, child rights commission, women's commissions. But if you will talk to the victims, you may understand that do they want only the compensation, monetary compensation, or they want other kind of support? Because the victim support is not only confined to the monetary compensation. This could be the counseling, this could be the assistance of other kind, this could be the medical assistance, this could be the assistance to their children, or this could be other kind of support system to the family. So that means when you are trying to understand, you have to come. Can others switch off the mic? Please mute yourself. Hello, who is this? Yeah. Okay.
Got late.
Hello. Can you mute yourself? When you speak, then only you unmute, please. Yeah. So, you know that the kind of data which you are planning, either more quantitative or more qualitative, you have to also see in your research. Then, hello, participants, can you mute yourself?
Mr. Bose, sir, please mute yourself.
Yeah, please mute. All others you can mute when you are speaking, then you unmute. That's all. Okay. So you know that universe of the study, geographical location. Where do you want to do your study? Now it is also depending on feasibility. Suppose if you stay in one place, if you stay in Mumbai, for example, and you are taking some area of you see Imphal or Manipur or Nagaland. Thing is, I mean, it's not a wrong idea, but how much time you have to go there? Can you go there? Can you be there for a few months? Can you? So what I'm saying, the area which you are choosing for your research should also be looked into and finalized, looking into your own situation. Because the purpose is not that you should do the research in far away places other than wherever you live or wherever you stay. The idea of research is that the topic in which you are researching, you want to analyze it critically. So it could be anything, and therefore there is no dearth of good topics nearby you. So area also you have to choose in such a way where you can easily go and you can easily do your study. Sampling. Now sampling is another. Now how much sampling you should do of the universe? For example, if you want to do suppose a research study on understanding of UDHR and international and national human rights frameworks among the school teachers, for example. Now you have to do the sampling in such a manner that the total universe, it should be not less than 10% of the sample. So that means if in some school or college, there are 100 teachers, you must interview at least for 10 teachers, those who are related to that. If you are not having the adequate sampling, then your research study could be questioned, and the reliability and validity may be a topic. So therefore, sampling is necessary. How are you drawing the sample? Even from the secondary data or primary data. So you have to very, very clearly specify that what is your sampling procedure, which method you are using. Then data collection tools is another. What are the tools for data collection? What is the data which you are using? Primary data or secondary data? What is primary data? Can somebody say something on primary data? What is primary and what is secondary in research? Any participant? Yes?
Sir, may I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, primary data, I think first-hand data, which we directly collect ourselves.
Right. So that means even in law, you are right, in law research also, like the primary data could be the judgments, etc. Or some law, if you are analyzing some legislation. Or the data which is being collected by the researcher himself or herself from the field. So this is the primary, exactly. And secondary data, any data source you are taking the data, published by the government report, published data from any source. Yes, right. Now, what could be the tools? How to collect the data? If you want to collect primary data and you want to collect the quantitative data, what is the difference between quantitative and qualitative? What is quantitative? If you want to understand the phenomena, you want to take the larger kind of survey if you want to conduct. And you are preparing questionnaire or interview schedule. Then quantitative means you are reaching, your sample size is bigger. And you are reaching out to the bigger sample size. But the qualitative, your sample may not be more, but the observations or the inputs taken from the sample, for example, case study is a qualitative method. Case could be any case law, any judgment, any legislation, or any kind of individual, any institution. So if you want to study, for example, the case study, suppose somebody is doing research on adoption. Now the case study method, if you are using, then case study of suppose 10 children you are doing. So then you will make the case study of that couple and the whole process in that. One case study may run around all stakeholders. You have to do the in-depth interview. If one case study should go in 7 to 8 pages, 10 pages. Means you are analyzing the all dimensions. For example, if you are conducting a study of the juvenile delinquency or the crime against juveniles, criminality among juveniles, why are they committing crime? What are the criminogenic situations, conditions there? What is their family background? What is their surrounding background? Why they have dropped out the school or the education? What is the negative impact in the neighborhood? What kind of injustice has been done with them when they are children? Many times when the children, those who are sexually exploited, and that many times they do commit crime later on, or they go into depression. So similarly, when you are doing the case study, it should be very, very comprehensive. And also, you should also then make some kind of recommendation on the basis of that. Similarly, in-depth interview. Similarly, focus group discussion if you are doing. for quality, because many times when people are in the group, you need not to prepare, like for example, your tool should be prepared in such a manner, interview schedule or questionnaire. It should not be too lengthy. If somebody is having 100 questions, and if you have come to interview me, if you say, I want your 2 hours, I want to talk, I'll say, I don't have time. So therefore, your questions should be very focused according to your objectives, and whatever is necessary. For example, name. You need to ask name. Why are you asking name of the respondents? Anyway, you will be taking consent. I'll come to the ethical framework. So therefore, data, tools and techniques are very important. If you are relying upon qualitative data, then you have to use the qualitative tools, which is case study and SGD, observation, etc. In-depth interviews. If you are having big sample size, then you have to go for the quantitative. And the data analysis is also an art. You know, data analysis, you have to enrich it from different kind of variables. Independent variable, dependent variables. For example, if you want to see that what is the process of victimization, or the if you will see example of the owner killings. Now, why such kind of heinous crime is being committed by the parents? What are those socio-cultural factors? What are the situation or conditions where the society or the car or the group is pressurizing the people? And why do they come under the pressure of that, this illegitimate kind of pressure? Or the support. For example, there is now the judgment where the court has said that the such couple, if they are getting threat, they can give the protection from the state side. Are they getting protection? What is their experience when such couples have gone to the police? So anything, if you are preparing case studies or if you are going for quantitative data, then quantitative, you have to go to various stakeholders, have the bigger size of the sample, and then you collect the data and you have to. So analysis, data analysis should be done thematically based on the objectives, and critical analysis has to be, which is missing in many research studies. Critical analysis is very important. Critical analysis, for example, if you are saying suicide, if you take. Now, attempt to suicide is now decriminalized according to the Mental Health Care Act. Or the homosexuality is decriminalized through the judgment of Navtesh Singh Johar versus Union of India. But if you want to do the critical analysis, whether the custodial institutions, they have modified their rules or regulations relating to these people. How are they being treated? Do they have the separate kind of barracks for their accommodation? Or the societal biasness, despite having a progressive judgment, how it is impacting on the psyche of the people? Whether the people's mind is a little bit changed there, or still they have the same approach, discriminatory approach. For example, if you see the violence, domestic violence. Do you think domestic violence is possible only through the stringent law? Although we have the stringent law, 498A, Prevention of Domestic Violence Act, and all a lot of framework is there. Do you think the domestic violence is not happening in our country? What do you think? Yes, participant? Are you listening to me or not? Yes, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Yes, yes.
Very much audible, sir.
If you people are not saying anything, I don't know whether I'm talking to the people or I'm just sitting on the screen. That's all. I don't know. So say something when I'm asking something. Yes, no. Say something. You all are teachers, research scholars. Could you hear my question? What I'm asking? I'm asking about the domestic violence.
Yes, sir, yes.
Do you think the legal protection alone is enough to curb such kind of malpractice? Or not? Another law is there. Despite that, this is continuing. What to be done if you want to do research in this area? Because research should be giving some kind of solution to that problem. So you have to go to the society. You have to see the patriarchal structure. You should have the mindset of the people and the factors which are responsible for them. Do you think that domestic violence is a problem in the rural areas or among the uneducated people, those who are not much educated? What do you think? Or the dowry related problems, dowry deaths, dowry demands? Do you think this is the problem relating to the rural areas or illiterate people? It is happening among them. What do you understand? If you want to do the research on this area, what is your thinking? You are from social sciences, you are from law. You don't have anything to say?
And the problem is in both the areas.
Yeah.
Even financial background and educational backgrounds are not making any difference in the quantum of or in the quantity of violence.
That means, can you simplify this?
Sir, in urban areas, police stations, the FIRs are of same quantity, and in the rural areas, the same. Situation is same in both the areas.
No. I'm not asking this. I'm asking the problem. Whether this problem is existing in the rural areas and among the less educated people, dowry-related problems, or the domestic violence.
So domestic violence is everywhere.
Everywhere across the
Everywhere, sir. In the
section.
cities also it is happening, and in the rural area also it is happening.
It is also happening with the people, those who are working in the corporate and those who are highly qualified.
And legislative provisions are not enough to curb out that thing.
No.
Only legislative provisions are not enough to curb out.
So therefore, if you want to do research on this, you have to bring the socio-cultural, religious, and patriarchal structure. Feminist theory you have to bring here. Because the patriarchal structure is responsible for this also, up to like that. The psyche of the male or psyche of the family. Like similarly, you will see the dowry death or dowry related problem. Do you think this is again the same problem? No. Rather, the dowry related problem are more complicated with the people, those who are more educated and well settled. That could be in different form. Form would be different. Sexual exploitation of children is happening with the well-to-do families as well as with the other families. So now what I am trying to tell you that when you are doing analysis should be made critically and enriched in such a manner so that various dimensions you can bring, and then the data which you are having, you have to analyze. Others can, this thing, please mute yourself. Some disturbance is there. Yeah, right. So now data analysis. When we say now ethics in the research, you know, confidentiality is very, very important. When you are doing research, any kind of research, the confidentiality of the responses from your respondents. Number two, you should be truthful to them. That because if you are going to take interview of someone, somebody will ask, how will I be benefited from your research? If you are doing research for your PhD purpose and you have gone to interview to some location, how will you satisfy the respondents? Who are you and why are you doing the research? Obviously, the person will ask, if I am spending half an hour or 1 hour with you, how I will be benefited from your research? How will you respond? Here is the ethics in the research. Any idea? No idea? You know, you should be very, very open and truthful. First thing you say, you take the, you see, their consent in writing and it in the local language. You should tell the respondent before interview, I am so and so, I am doing research, what is the purpose of my research, and the conversation which is happening with us, and you are giving some information that will be used only for the research purpose. Number two, it will be kept confidential. Third, it may not be directly beneficial to you, but it will be directly beneficial to me as I will be getting PhD, but I'll be sharing these findings with various kind of conferences, seminar, or we will send the recommendation to the concerned department, government department or body for consideration. That's all. I cannot promise you that I'll tell you. I did my PhD 30 years back, more than 30 years back. And I did my PhD on open prisons, open jails. Have you heard about open jails? Any of you have heard about open jail? No? You know that the prisons, there are some prisons all over the country, in Maharashtra also we have, in all states, which are having very minimal kind of security. एक मूवी थी, दो आंखें 12 हाथ, वी शांताराम. सुना किसी ने मूवी हो, देखा?
Yes, sir.
पुरानी मूवी है, वी
यस
शांताराम.
सर, देखिए
क्या था उसमें?
सर उसमें ये था कि एक जो जेलर होते हैं वो जो कैदी होते हैं उन लोगों को वो काम करने के लिए प्रेरित करते हैं, उन्हें अलग ले जाके रखते हैं और उनसे काम करवाते हैं और जेल में नहीं रखते हैं और उनकी एक टेरिटरी को डिफाइन कर देते हैं कि यहाँ तक रहना है.
राइट.
तो ये थी सर उसकी शानदार. और सर इसका एक एग्जाम्पल भी देखा, हिमाचल प्रदेश के में शिमला में जो जेल है वहां के कुछ कैदियों को उन लोगों ने छोड़ा है, वो अपनी बुक एक शॉप है वहां जाते हैं और शाम को वापस आ जाते हैं.
हर स्टेट में है, बिल्कुल आपने ठीक कहा. राजस्थान में भी है, जयपुर के पास सांगानेर.
अच्छा सर. जी सर.
और भी बहुत सारी हैं हमारे देश में. राजस्थान का मॉडल ही बहुत अच्छा मॉडल है. वहाँ कैदी जेल के कंपाउंड में रहते हैं और वो ओपन मार्केट में अपना काम करते हैं. कोई शॉप में है, कोई कहीं, और वो बिना वॉच एंड गार्ड के जाते हैं सुबह और शाम को अपने आप लौट आते हैं.
यस सर. यस.
और द एस्केप रेट इज लेस देन द क्लोज जेल. तो वो आइडिया ये है कि जब मैं कर रहा था पीएचडी तो मुझसे उन्होंने पूछा कि सर आप उस समय आई वाज अ यंग रिसर्चर. उनका भाई तुम ये बताओ, तुम तो पीएचडी तुम रिसर्च कर रहे हो, उससे हमें क्या मिलेगा? कौन सी रिसर्च है? हमें क्या जल्दी छूट जाएंगे हम जेल से, या हमें क्या फायदा हो? मैं कहा भाई देखिए, फायदा पहले मुझे होगा. क्योंकि मैं पीएचडी अगर मुझे मिल गई तो मुझे डिग्री भी मिलेगी, हो सकता मुझे उसके बेस पर मुझे अच्छी नौकरी भी मिल जाए। लेकिन वो जो मैं स्टडी कर रहा हूँ, ये स्टडी मैं आपकी डिसेमिनेट करूंगा थ्रू वेरियस सोर्सेज, and this will be sent to the government for consideration and some kind of bringing some kind of changes relating to the problems which you have in this. That's all. I cannot promise you completely whether this will be done or not, but I'll try to do something. So what I'm saying, ethical compliance is very, very necessary. Yes, somebody raise hand. Who is this? Would you like to say something? Okay. Then chapter outline. Then you have to
Sir,
give the yes. Yeah. Yes, please.
so when people ask हमें क्या फायदा होगा, is any monetary benefit या कोई any items given to them, is it unethical?
That
Are
is
you
completely unethical.
specifically saying that?
That is completely unethical.
Why exactly? I'm not very. I can't get the.
No,
If I can give a small sum, if I can afford to give them any amount.
No. I think this is completely unethical. You know that if somebody is responding to your question, fine. If you want to do some charity, okay, there are other ways. You can give to some NGOs, those who are working in that area, for the welfare of their children, or supporting other kind of issues to them. But if you are doing through your research, if you are going as a researcher, and suppose you have come to me, for example, I am a person who is residing in rural area, and you want to do some research on the agricultural field, okay, and I am a farmer. Now, you have asked me that how much agricultural land you have, what kind of crop you are having, produce and all those kind of things. What kind of benefits you are getting from the government schemes in terms of fertilizer, in terms of seed or whatever. And in the end, you are offering me some money. I think that is because that means you are trying to buy that person because you have some money, therefore you are giving because he or she has responded to your questions or your helping to do your research. This is unethical. If you want to do some kind of welfare to them, you provide that kind of money to some organizations there, those who are. So that is very important in research. You cannot, you see, offer, researcher cannot offer any kind of gift or any kind of cash or time to the respondents. Okay. Then chapter.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Chapter outline and timeline of the study also very, very important. You know that many researchers, they cannot complete their thesis for several years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. So therefore, you should be very, very particular. And one thing also I'll tell you, in research, the researchable topic is important, and another area which is also very important, who is the research guide? That is also a demigod kind of fellow in your research journey. If you are not choosing a good research competent guide, then researcher would be in trouble in future. So sometimes the guides are being allocated by the university. There is no choice. So it depends on your interaction with the guide, guide's interest in your research area, guide's availability of time of the guide, the quality of discussion with the guide, because guide is also important in the researcher. So you have to also remember this, that when you are doing research, if the person is from the same area, then you can have better, you see, research to be done. Otherwise, if the guide is not much helpful, then research, you would be in trouble in research also. So that is also another problem. Okay. So now I will, any questions so far, whatever we have discussed, because we have around 15-20 minutes still. Starting from, you can switch on your camera, those who can, those who want, okay? Because I have stopped that. I'll send you that PPT. And now I would like to take some questions or some issues which you would like to raise. Now I'll come also after this, the another area, how to prepare a good research proposal. Yes.
Sir, whether you can give some light over postdoctoral research?
Yeah, Dr. Kasle. Dr. Kasle, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Right, I'm okay. Yeah. So, you know, yeah. You are asking for postdoctoral?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You know, that like postdoctoral work, you can do in both ways. One, that you have to register somewhere for DLIT. Okay. Or if you are coming from science background, the DSc, or there is the scheme of postdoctoral work from the ICSSR or from the UGC. They are giving some support. So postdoctoral should be done. Postdoctoral is the advanced kind of research work. So advanced kind of research work when you are doing, then you have to either examine some kind of theory, or you have to do very intensive critical analysis of some problem related to that area of your interest. So postdoctoral, like, because you are already familiar with the research methodology, you are familiar with the basic kind of understanding. I always say that the research, when you get the doctorate degree, then your actual research journey starts. Then you actually understand that, yes, what is research about? So postdoctoral is the advanced kind of research where you would like to do some kind of very focused work. For example, like if somebody would like to do research on the Habitual Offenders Act. Now, Habitual Offenders Act, this criminalization of the law, because the Britishers, earlier that was the Criminal Tribes Act. After independence, in new avatar, this act is now the Habitual Offenders. That some tribal caste communities, they have been branded as the criminal. Now this is the criminalization of the and the colonization of the law. Now, the good postdoctoral research can be done on this. That do we need such kind of law? How the law has been applied so far? What is the international human rights framework and national human rights framework? And why, despite having 75 years of independence, we could not get, or we could not provide permanent abode to some of our fellow citizens? Why this is happening? Do they not have equal rights? Where is the problem? At the political level, at the policy level, and at the societal level. So therefore, when you are thinking of postdoctoral research, or another example I can give, the funded research study from any ministry or any source of funding, ICSSR, UGC, etc. They don't want too much. Like, as I said you earlier, the literature review should be very, very strong when you are doing your doctoral or postdoctoral. But when you are doing your funded research, that could be the public policy research. There should be some kind of literature review, but that should be very, very focused and concise, because they are not interested that you have referred 100 books and 100 journal articles or XYZ resources. They said the particular kind of policy, for example, like the policy of the government of India relating to the providing this or the financial inclusion of the people through the opening of the bank accounts. Now, how many people have been benefited from which background, and actually what do they feel after their inclusion in this mainstream process? They can get the loan from the bank or something. What is their perception and perspective on this financial inclusion? Where is the lacuna now? What kind of difficulties they have still faced despite having the facilitative scheme from the government, hurdles from the bank officials or otherwise, or anything, or you are examining any law or you are examining any public policy relating to that. So you should be very clear. Your rationale, your significance of the study should be very, very focused, depending upon the public policy. And then your objectives should also be very, very focused and methodology, because you would like to have the critical analysis of that. Who could be your stakeholders in that? What kind of tool you should prepare? Because in the end of the day, funding agency would like to see some kind of durable solution of that problem. Whether the amendment in law or rules or regulations should be made, or some kind of problem in the effective implementation at the implementation through implementation machinery. So that kind of suggestions they want in a concrete manner, so that if government is planning to revise the scheme or would like to revisit or would like to assess the efficacy of that scheme, the policymaker would be able to know what are those hurdles, problems through your critical analysis. So that would have little more critical analysis, less literature review, but focused literature review, and very, very dependent and independent variables you have to make in such a manner, your research hypothesis, and also the stakeholders which you will select for data collection, and data collection tools and method should be very robust. And then finally, you should have very clear cut, like you cannot give a generalized kind of recommendation. For example, like a law thesis. Something like, for example, if you are working on this victimological perspective, for example. Now, the more rights to be given to the victims, the law should be amended in such a manner. You cannot give such kind of recommendation. You should say in which law. If you are examining, for example, the community service which is provided in the Juvenile Justice Act 2015. Now you have to say that although the community service provision is there, but where is the structure of community service through legal framework? Therefore, we need to develop a bill and later on an act which can specify the community service and also various kind of institutions which can offer the community service. So that kind of, you see, you have to be very, very focused, very, very, you see, recommendations which could be useful to the policymakers or to the enforcement, those who are doing the enforcement of those laws or policies. For example, like if you want to see that this like Sabrimala judgment, if you will see. This is the gender rights, gender justice perspective. If the women, the human right, international, the national perspective, the constitution, that they all give right that we all are equal. But that equality is not acceptable and visible in all places. So then if you are choosing a focused area, for example, entry into the temple, or using the public resources, like caste-related problems we have in our country, in several areas. Why, despite having robust human rights framework, it is not happening? What are those factors? Including law. If law has to be made more enforceable, because law is stringent, but why still the conviction rate is so low? So therefore, whatever project you are preparing for for your funded research, it should be very, very focused. Similarly, the third thing is this: each research, either it is individual research or your sponsored research, you should see that it should culminate in some kind of publication and dissemination of that knowledge. Many times we academicians, we don't do that. So you have to also very meticulously plan out that how you will translate that kind of you see, knowledge into publishable material. And the publication should also be done with a reputed UGC Careless Journal or Scopus journals, or where or how to disseminate to the concerned stakeholders. That has also been seen, because then the you see, real benefit of this research can reach out to the stakeholders, those who have been included in the study. So that is also important. Yeah. Any other question? I think there is a Ashish, there is complete silence from the audience.
So,
Either-
so one query.
There are
So one
questions.
query.
Okay, please come in. Yeah.
So I'm still stuck on that point where you said you cannot pay your subjects. My question is this only for academic research where we do a PhD? Is it only till that end, or let's say when a company launches a product and it hires its employees to do research about the product? Does this concept extend over there also?
No, any research, there is the ethics for every profession, right? Do you agree with this? Or not?
Yeah.
Reshma? Anna?
I'm assuming yes.
Yeah, what is your name?
So my name, Grishma.
Grishma, yeah. So what I'm saying, there is the ethical framework for every field, okay? If you are a researcher, right? If you are a researcher and you are doing research, what is the purpose of the research? You have to first understand. It should have the public purpose. It is, although it is serving your own purpose, that while doing research we will be benefited in different ways. But when you are, that means if you are paying to your respondents, that means you are purchasing them. You are giving some kind of greed to them. If you feel perhaps that's fine, I can pay X amount and perhaps that's fine. They have not done any kind of contribution to my research. Rather, since they have given time, I am paying to them. Do you think so? This should be the framework in any research.
But so if I'm accepting to test a certain product on myself, there's a risk which I'm taking up. And I am very sure none of these companies are doing it for free, or anyone is going there as a model for free. So
like if you are not a company representative, are you going there as a company representative or a researcher?
So that was my query, sir. When we say you are not supposed to pay your subjects over there, is it restrained only till this academic research, or even these companies have to follow by these rules?
No, I'm talking academic research.
Academically, okay,
yes.
Sir. And so when even for government, when government allots a fund, whether we pay them or not, we would never, is that the rule that we should never write it down that we have paid our subjects like that? Government also, are you very sure that even the government does not put any amount?
Pay means?
For the time, the way I see it, I feel even the people are investing their time in cooperating with this research, time and efforts and a risk, certain risks. And to tell that they should not get anything in return, I feel that is more than unethical.
No. Research, as I said in the beginning, why are you doing the research? If you are not clear in that, you are doing research whether to bring some kind of policy changes, or to test some kind of, you see, the efficacy of the law. So that is most important. If you have come to me and you are asking me some questions, so first you have to convince me that who you are and why I should spend time for your research. So therefore, if you are doing for the public good, it should be the public cause. Every research which is being done, this is contributing either to the policy formulation or evaluation of the policy, or testing some kind of theory, or testing some kind of implementation of some law or judgment. So the whole idea to reach out to the people, when you are reaching out to them, this is our collective. Do we have any social responsibility or not? Each one of us is having some kind of social responsibility. So from that framework, nothing can be expected from the researcher to be offered in lieu of the time which is spent by the respondents. This is the quality of the researcher. How can you convince your respondent that the time spent by the respondent for your research would be good for the public good, not only for just to benefit one or two people.
Okay, sir, that was really convincing. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Now I get that point.
Yes. Any other question by any participants?
So any other participant would like to ask any question?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, we have discussed sometime before that regarding the domestic violence problem. Only the legislative provisions are not enough to curb out this problem. So, what will you suggest for the society? What we can do apart from this? Like when we come to the point that we have to change the mindset of the people and all exactly. So, from your side, what will be your suggestion to curb out this particular
Yeah.
problem of domestic and
Yeah,
social violence?
yes. You know, the patriarchal mindset, how we deal with our male children, male child and the female child. That starts from the family.
Right.
This gender biasness goes from the childhood through our socialization process. So first we have to see that the similar kind of behavior should be adopted with both kind of children, male or female child, which we have. You will agree that we have little different kind of parameters for the male child, for the boys and for the girls.
Okay.
Although things are changing, like if I see from my generation in 70s and now, a lot of changes have come. But still the patriarchal kind of mindset that male is little superior. That kind of psyche is the major cause for this domestic violence. The male still feel male is little superior than the female, although both may be working. Otherwise, where is the question of any violence?
Right.
Because the traditions, the religious rituals, the cultural, so somehow we are modified persons, or we have modified our behavior through our education. We may have the good job, we may have the higher education, but we may believe in some kind of the old useless rituals which are not relevant in today's context, and they can become also a source for violence. Maybe the cultural, maybe the religious, or maybe like dowry. If you will see, many you see, male will say, "Bhai, I don't want dowry." लेकिन अब हमारे माँ बाप को कौन समझाए, वो तो आप समझ लो। फिर माँ बाप को बोले मैं नहीं बोल सकता, मैं खुद गारंटी लेता हूं, मैं नहीं लूंगा, मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए। या फिर वो कहेंगे भाई हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए, अगर लड़का डॉक्टर है तो हॉस्पिटल बनवा दो, बस कदम बात, हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए। I will tell you, the human mind is so clever. Those who would like to, those who are greedy, they would like to continue some kind of malpractices in one way or other. So therefore, to you see, attack on this patriarchal structure and the mindset that the male is superior has to be you see, hit up. All are equal, male or female, or even now the third gender. Constitution has given equal right to all of us. So therefore, this kind of all discrimination, comes from the mindset. And many times we are progressive in our approach in one area or other area, but sometimes we may be very primitive in our ritualistic kind of things, or in some kind of cultural malpractices. We will say, this is okay, itna to chale. So I think there is need to continuously think about this, and we have to see what is now applicable, what is not applicable. The cultural, social, religious, the malpractices which are not relevant today, we have to say bye-bye to them. And we have to see these practices, if they are according to the Constitution, they are. Constitution means the equal right, equality, dignity, respect to everybody, whether male, female, or third gender. We all are human beings. We all have equal rights, and we are having equal respect. So when the family is there, we have to take care of everybody, every member. We cannot just discriminate on the basis of this.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, this is a long debate and we don't have much time. And my time is also up because Himanshu is also there. So,
can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
My name is Vinita.
Yeah.
So this is regarding when we are doing the bibliography. Now, if I'm referring to a textbook or a text by A writer has quoted B writer, and B writer may have also made some reference to a C writer.
Yeah.
So when we're doing the bibliography, do we list only the first A writer, or can you skip that and go straight to the B if you have that text available?
Yeah. You know that bibliography and references, you can divide in two parts. So suppose bibliography means you have read something, some literature, and you have drawn some kind of ideas, and then you are translating into your words. Okay, that's the bibliography. Reference means if you are quoting something directly, verbatim, that is the reference. So if suppose in some book that author has referred third person or second person regarding that, then you put as a reference to that reference, actual reference which is quoted in the book, that will go as a reference. And in bibliography, this authors from whose book you are quoting that kind of material.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think Ashish ji, I think now let us wind up.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, on behalf of all the participants, I must thank you for such a wonderful session. It was a very enlightening session, sir. And we are receiving all the rewards also, feedback also in the chat box also. And we are really thankful to you for this enlightening session. So thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thanks to
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Yes,
much, sir.
really.
Wonderful
And
session.
always it is a pleasure for a teacher to talk to the young colleagues, and you see, although you see this online doesn't give much opportunity to talk to each other, but still I think something is better than nothing kind of thing. And I'm also thankful to all the participants and the college for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Sir, whether sir has joined right now?
Yes, sir has joined. I can see him. Himanshu Pandey, sir has joined. Sir is there, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening, madam. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good
Yes,
evening, sir.
Namaste, sir. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Namaste, sir. So we are heading towards the second session, and we are privileged to have Dr. Himanshu Pandey sir. I would like to give a brief introduction of Himanshu Pandey sir. Dr. Himanshu Pandey sir is currently an associate professor of law at National Law University, Nagpur. After completing a BA in psychology, criminology, and education, sir completed his LLB and thereafter LLM in commercial law from Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. In 2014, sir secured his PhD on the topic prevention and control of terrorism for protection of human rights. And this PhD was from Avdesh Pratap Singh University, Rewa, Madhya Pradesh. Sir is also head Center for Corporate Law and Governance, head Department of Law, convener examination committee, and member of various committees and councils. Sir is also editor of MNLU Nagpur Contemporary Law Review and also co-project director for research program, Hate Crimes, Prejudices and Violence Faced by People from Northeastern States and Measures to Counter, an empirical study which is sponsored by ICSSR of the MHRD Government of India. Sir has published several research papers and has delivered special lectures on various forums across the nation. Sir's area of interest includes law of evidence, company law, insurance law, international trade law, and of course, research methodology. So we have a distinguished law scholar with us, Associate Professor of Law from National Law University, Nagpur, Dr. Himanshu Pandey, sir. We welcome you, sir, for the second session. Over to you, sir.
Can you hear me? My voice is okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, audible.
Thank you. First, it's always a pleasure for me wherever I get an opportunity to discuss about research, quality of research, methods. And research, I really feel, is not the matter of learning, rather it's the matter of realization. And being professor of law and my association with the academics of last more 16, 17 years, I always find there is a kind of bottleneck in research writing, where the author or researcher has a good idea, but he or she is not able to structurize their idea in a systematic manner. So I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to interact with the scholars. This is faculty development program. So I'm also a faculty. I cannot say extraordinary things, but with my limited understanding about research, legal research, whatever limited knowledge, understanding I possess, I assure you, I will try my best to share with all of you. So again, thanks to all participants and the organizers for inviting me.
Sir, can I request you to be a little louder, please? We can't hear you very well.
Just a minute, madam. Let me settle my day. Just a minute. Now, can you hear me? Am I audible clearly?
Not really, sir.
Just a minute. Let me do some other experiments.
It's only the volume. We can hear you, but it's not loud enough.
Now, what's your opinion about my voice quality? Yes, Vinita madam. Now is better?
So volume is a problem. So if you ask us a question, I don't think I'll be able to hear you.
I can hear you clearly.
I think
just
madam, it is good now. The volume also is good.
Whether is this voice quality is okay from my side?
Sir, to me, it is sounding clear and loud. I don't know about madam.
Okay. What about other participants?
They are saying okay and yes, sir. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you. So friends, today's for this session, that assignment which is given to me to speak, that is on research writing. And I think that it is really a difficult task for me to conduct a session after this session of Professor Arvind Tiwari, sir. He has been my guide, mentor in the area of research methodology. So please do not compare with me with the earlier speaker. Okay. So sir has nicely covered all the aspects regarding your proposal writing. Now moving further, if you have successfully submitted a proposal, and thereafter the second stage where you enter, this is called your report writing. Whether it's the case for PhD thesis, dissertations in master's program, or you are conducting any exclusive research on any research project. I can't say that there is only one suggestive model which I'm advising you. Rather, I feel that there may be varieties of model as per the nature of the study, as per the research problem, objectives, hypothesis. So what I did on the basis of my experience, I found that the scholars are not able to write their research, their thesis in a proper or systematic manner. Whether it is the quality of dissertation is concerned while supervising dissertations in master's program, or PhD degree, that is regarding thesis writing. So I found that why there should not be minimum suggestive structure, which as a new scholar or new researcher can follow as a basic or suggestive guidelines or the model for their research. Just a minute, I'm sharing my contents. Give me 1 minute. So can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sir. The screen is visible.
Okay. What is there on your screen? Can you just confirm? What is appearing on your screen? Can you please confirm?
Yes, so the screen is visible.
What is there on your screen?
The screen, sir, there are two birds. One is in the nest and it was surrounded by, you can say, problems, and one is climbing.
Okay, thank you. This is your deep thinking, which even I had no intent to convey. You have tried to visualize what I was trying to convey you. Basically, that these pictures I have kept in the beginning just to show you that these birds, they apply certain tactics and to satisfy their demands. What they need, they are capable to design their nests as per for their living and survival. And you know that during this rainy season, they are capable to save their life structure. They don't possess any specific degree They do not have any academic training. They do not have any learning classes. Rather, it's their natural inherent quality. While learning about the research methods and how to write research in a formal structure, I always believe that somewhere we are losing our inherent research skills. So first, I request every scholar, every researcher is unique in his way of thinking. So please do not copy the others' style, what others are saying. You should have confidence in your own cognitive thinking. A worst idea today can be a best idea for tomorrow. And when a child starts walking, first, immediately he has not become a marathon participant. He has to start crawling. When a child starts developing his command over the language, he does not start fluently speaking language. He takes time to learn. Same thing, if you want to do something, you will not get expertise. Error or the scope of improvement are the first initial stage towards progress and development. So nobody should confine to a kind of best quality of research. Rather, my research should be original. You must have this commitment with yourself. This discussion, I don't want to confine in a form of lecture. Rather, I would be more happy to have discussion, or my teaching would be a kind of dealing in the workshop manner. I request all participants in this room, kindly start imagination with your own research work, whatever research topic or area they have undertaken for the research. And through this discussion, I am very much confident they will be able to develop their own research model. Through this example, I simply try to convey that research skills are something inherent, and yes, we can fine-tune them. But you cannot borrow the others' model, because requirements, your capacity, your skills are completely different from others. So first, you need to realize about your own strength, your own qualities, your own thinking process. Two people cannot think in the same way. And the people think that, sorry, I just want to confirm whether the mode of communication should remain in English or Hindi or both. I'm comfortable in both the way. Yes, please. Is communication in English or Hindi? I don't know Marathi, please. Shall we?
English is fine.
Thank you. Now, finally, the work is in shape. When we undertake any formal research, simple steps are involved therein. First, you have selection of your topic. Then after selecting your topic, you start collecting data. You examine those sources, those data, those information, then you develop your own arguments. All these stages are not so simple. While selecting a topic, there is a detailed exercise which a researcher has to undergo. After doing that detailed analysis about the problem, he is capable to make a statement of problem or formulation of a statement of problem. I'm not going to deal about the research methodology. I'm not going to discuss about research method. I'm not going to teach you what is doctrinal or empirical research. Rather, I'm going to tell you what should be there in your chapter number 1, how to start introductory chapter, how to move ahead with the subsequent chapter, what should your contents you should deal in your conclusion and suggestions. So this is more specific directive models about how to write a thesis or dissertation. I'm dealing compartment wise. your first chapter in your research, I assume that rest of the methodological aspect researcher must have taken care while conducting a research. Whether he has followed doctrinal research or empirical research or any other method. But while preparing report on his work, what he has experienced, whether your report writing is in terms of contents, in terms of methodology, in terms of coherence is appreciable or not, that is the question. So the first chapter, that is the usual structuring of every research writing, you start with introduction, then you switch to other chapters. From other chapter, you move towards conclusion and suggestion, then your bibliography or references. Now, first question, what part I should write in my chapter 1? Feel free, any faculty has any question, any doubt, any reservation, most welcome. You have full authority to intervene in between. Here on your screen, you can see that introduction I have divided into two parts. The first part, that is introduction of the subject, and the second part, that is introduction of the study. Directly, you cannot introduce about your research methodology. You cannot directly come and speak about your title of the study. You need to deal about your research domain first. 1A and 1B. Can you see this new slide? I have just changed. Clearly visible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Friends, this 1, 2, 3, 4, this structuring ordering I have given to write in your introductory part, what should be tackled, should be taken care in first paragraph. That is the opening of your introduction. I'll justify along with the examples. Research is what? Your knowledge product. Obviously, your product will be appreciated if it has any significance and demand in the market. You are not going to submit your product to any robot. You are not going to submit your product to any non-living entity. You are going to submit your knowledge product towards the examination of other human beings. Don't forget this part. Where you submit something for the examination, evaluation, or appreciation for other individual, this is human nature. He'll try to catch the significance, or he'll try to catch his own interest. A best example I have, you all are attending this lecture to find out your interest. If I'm not capable to cater your interest, you will not give attention on what I'm speaking in front of my computer. So in the first paragraph, if you can emphasize about the objective, importance, or impact of the subject. These interchangeable words, terminology I have used. And thereafter, you can see the classification from individual perspective, social perspective, national and international perspective. It speaks about the generalization value of your research work. But ultimately, the human agency is the beneficiary of your work. You cannot deny this fact. So your language should be so simple and easy by which you can make others to understand that here's what I am writing, this is for your benefits. One individual is writing for the benefit of other individual. Whatever I am displaying, this is for your academic interest. This is the first point from my side. That in introduction, whatever domain you have selected, every domain has a natural characteristics. What is that natural characteristics? A human perception to analyze or evaluate any stimulus or any object or any concept. Either we wait it in a positive manner or negative manner. The concepts have inherent positive or negative characteristics. Like, we speak about corruption. There may be thousands of counter justifications of corruptive activity, but the term corruption is per se negative in nature. Nobody can say that the corruption contains the positive features. Why? This is not my definition or your definition. This is the concept per se itself, that how a society are understand about it, what is the social expectation and what is the social perception about it. So now the first classification that your research domain which you have selected, see whether it is positive in nature or the negative in nature. I wish to entertain questions on this point along with the examples, whether all participants in the room are capable to conceive what is positive and what is negative. I use certain terms, rape. The term sounds, every person say that this is something, that area which is having negative characters, not beneficial for the society, not appreciated by the society. Those things, those behavior, those aspects which are accepted by the society. Marriage is not good for health. Why? Because it is somewhere curtailing my liberty. But only on the basis of this justification, I can't justify that the marriage per se concept is wrong. Divorce. Divorce also exists, but nobody can say divorce is something which is good occasion or situation in the life of the spouse who are going to break up their matrimonial ties. Got the point? Hindu Marriage Act is titled as Hindu Marriage Act, although it is providing provision for divorce, but you don't call the law that is Hindu Marriage and Divorce Act. The object of the law was to promote, provide practices, regulations, and recognition of the marriages which are solemnized. The law has no intention to promote divorce, but there are certain situations, inevitable circumstances where it is difficult for the spouse to survive together. So by this example, I just wanted to classify that you need to understand that domain which you have selected, whether it is carrying the positive characteristics, inherent characteristics, or negative. Negative things in our society do not carry any importance or object. It is always having impact. Day-to-day basis, you read a newspaper, there are number of cited news about corruption. We read, criticize, but we are not sensitized because we are not the victim. But if somebody can make me realize that how this corruption activity has affected your interest in that society, I'll give due attention in that part. Opening remark where the domain is positive in nature, either I'll start about the object or importance of concept. If the domain is carrying negative characters, I'll start from the impact of that particular concept on your health. Got the point? First, in first paragraph, in what cases one should start with objective, what one should start with importance. Your title, which is the area which you have selected for the study, is well known. You want to society to be aware about that concept, why this concept exists and why this concept is necessary. Then you start about the objective. Why this concept exists in our society, you start writing about the objective. Where the domain is not well known, well explored, it is absolutely new in nature. In that situation, we start emphasizing about importance, how this particular thing would be beneficial in our life. If I ask, what is definition of democracy? Immediately, majority of people will say democracy means where is the government of the people, for the people, by the people. But what is the impact of democracy on my health? As an individual, Himanshu Pandey is capable to vote. As an individual, Himanshu Pandey has participation in decision-making process in the country. As Himanshu Pandey, this is my entitlements in democratic setup. I will not be discriminated. How society will be benefited? Then in second in order in the same paragraph, you will be expanding the scope of your domain. First, how individual is interested, related, affected, how society is related, interested, affected with that particular domain. If that domain area which you have selected has wider scope, then you can move further national perspective. And if it is global in nature, you can go up to international perspective. So first chapter, introduction, first paragraph should be confined within these 4 bullet points, not beyond it. If that concept is negative in nature, yes, Dr. Bose, please.
Sir, my one submission is, when you say that individual perspective, are you talking about the perspective of the researcher, or you are talking about the perspective of individuals present in the society?
Thank you, Dr. Bose, for raising this question. This was my fault. I could not explain in the beginning. Where we are in the position of researcher, we need to control or come out from individual identity. Individual means to say that the target group, if I'm writing something before whom it will be presented, who would be the expected reader of my work? That individual I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what is my individual perspective, because once I say I'm a researcher, I have lost my individual identity. I will have to be objective, because I'm the person who is appointed, undertaken the responsibility in behalf of society. No research is conducted to resolve personal issues. Rather, the research topic which is approved by the appropriate body, they see the generalization value. That topic which you have selected, whether the society at large is interested therein or not. The problem which I am reflecting, this is the common problem of a particular group or society, or this is my individual problem. That problem selected for the study, it should reflect the common problem of the society. No, it should not be we cannot be kept for research which is specifically my individual problem. So the individual perspective term here, you can understand that who would be the expected reader of your work. You need to convince him or her that what I am speaking about, this is directly relating to you, your identity, your personality, your society. Okay, Professor Bose?
Got sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. One more thing I wanted to clarify. Doctorate degree is not conferred for the purpose of submitting a compiled work. One should not forget constitutional provision which says that no title can be conferred except in 2 areas. No title can be conferred to any person except in 2 areas. First is in defense services, and second one is academics. So this doctorate degree which is conferred for your research work, there is a very strong assumption that the knowledge which you have created is beneficial for the society. Now, rest, I don't want to speak much. You know the reality. 99% theses are kept in the safe custody. Why? Because the author knows that there is no such valid contribution towards creation of useful or significant knowledge. So here, all research writing, wherever you are addressing the researcher, you can't use the word I, we, believe. This is that researcher experience, researcher analyze, researcher opine. This is always in third person's denotation should be there while authoring your research work. Now I'm coming to the second paragraph. My research domain is X. Now you can fit your respective variables, whether it is dowry or crime or education or living relationship or whatever you want to put there. My variable is X. Whether X is positive connotation or having negative connotation, but for the purpose of layman understanding, there are some idealistic or standard propositions of the subject. Idealistic term I am using for those titles, those topics, those domains which are carrying positive characteristics. Here, especially this is a conference for law and interdisciplinary courses. In legal research, in fact, what we try to explore, when we say that there is a law, people think that there are certain well-established norms, and we analyze them. What we analyze? We are simply trying to find out the gap between the expectation and the reality, between idealistic proposition and the realistic proposition. So the second paragraph should be dedicated towards the idealistic aspects of that particular domain. Like I say, teacher, I give one assignment to my student is write about a teacher. He starts writing about me. No, he has no right. In first paragraph, he spoke about importance of teacher in individual's life, in social development, in national building or whatsoever. But in second paragraph, he will speak how to define a teacher, considering those elements and the corners which a society at large considers to define this particular term. Here he does not have a right to incorporate individual experience. Yes, I'll come to that point. Legal definition, law is what? Law is nothing. This is a legal expectation. People say that the law is a normative science. I believe it is a behavioral science. If that behavioral pattern is not in tune with the law, it means the law is not capable to, is not effective in the society. Best example I have for all of you. Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019. In Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019, when implemented, I found one day I visited NCR, Yamuna Expressway. The people were playing their car on very controlled speed. Why? What happened? This was that threat of hefty penalty. Under the new law, it was 10,000 rupees on first occasion, driving vehicle on high speed. Now you can see that if there is a law, it is affecting my behavior, my impulses. Where the penalty is less, I don't want to control my impulses. I don't wish to control my behavior pattern, because hardly 200 rupees fine I'll pay. But where the penalty goes 2 lakh rupees while pushing accelerator, my immediately respond that 2 lakh ka penalty hai bhai, tarike se chalne ka. What does it mean? That means what law speaks, what law demands, that is idealistic proposition. How do we behave? This a realistic aspect. So the second paragraph should be dedicated towards idealistic aspect, standard propositions about the subject. Here you are going to mention what? First is the literal meaning. Kindly take note. While defining X, I will use the literal meaning, what X means. I am going to take into consideration dictionary meaning. I am going to see encyclopedias, and I'm going to refer that this is the literal meaning to define or conceptualize this particular aspect. Kindly note on this point. Legal definitions always come second. Definition given by the social scientists, experts, international conventions, all these definitions will come later. The first in order while defining the concept you need to open with literal meaning what dictionary meaning is there for to address that concept. Then if there is a legal definition, yes, definitely we will take it. If there is social scientific or contextual definition, yes, we will consider. And in second paragraph, at the last time, incorporate operative definition. On the basis of analysis of these things, how one can easily denote about X in easy way, expression and language. So this is about second paragraph, introduction, first part about it. If the concept is negative, how society perceive about it. Corona has up. Everybody start writing about corona, impact of corona, but nobody has tried to, in real sense, conceptualize what corona is, what pandemic is. So while defining the concept of pandemic, you will have to take into consideration literal meaning first. आपको व्याकरण के जो व्याख्या है वो लेना ही पड़ेगा. You will have to refer dictionaries. You cannot avoid dictionaries or encyclopedias. If I am able to convey my point about the second paragraph, if the House agrees, can I switch to third paragraph?
Yes,
shall we? Thank you. Now, the third paragraph completely focusing on realistic aspects. What common mistakes we find if there is something happen? Researcher is going to cite for opening remark with that instance. Delhi is not safe for women because of Nirbhaya's incidents. Whether the Nirbhaya's one incident is sufficient to establish a pattern? Answer is, can you make a philosophy on the basis of one incident? Answer is no. There has to be a series of instances on the basis of which you can establish a pattern, on the basis of which you can draw some inferences. And here you will have to, in third paragraph, catch those real instances of life, those examples on the basis of which you can go for comparison. Teacher, importance of teacher referred in methodological books. गुरु गोविंद दोनों खड़े काके लागू पांव बलिहारी गुरु आपने गोविंदी बताए. सब reality क्या है? Let us check. Here in third paragraph, you are going to speak about realistic nature of that particular domain. Here you can incorporate all those examples. Here you can incorporate all those instances, but do not forget to cite the source of information. Because in research, we are only with two things: factual information and philosophical information. 15 people died at so-and-so place. I'm duty bound to incorporate the source of information, whether I came across to this information through newspaper, through television media, through social media. I'm bound to refer. Why? Because the factual information must be cited with the source of information. Second thing, I speak about a philosophy idea which is conceived by Mr. Particular expert. Wherever you are borrowing a philosophy, if you want to get justice, come with clean hand. कहते साहब ये क्या है? Honesty is a valuable asset to one's personality. This is a saying, but I need to explain with reasons. Wherever you are adopting any philosophy given by any philosopher, don't forget to mention, explain the reasoning given by that philosopher. Then associated with that reasoning, you need to quote one or two examples. Only then you can justify that yes, this philosophy exists. What Rabindranath Tagore says, I copied. What Bala Subramaniam says, I copied. What Bill Clinton said, I copied. This is their idea. Citing their idea in your work needs some explanation and justification. So these explanation and justifications are nothing, simply that reasoning what has been followed, that has to be there. Following that reasoning pattern, is there any living example to justify that reasoning? Yes, that has to be taken into consideration. Here you have a complete liberty to criticize, analyze everything. That is the realistic proposition of that particular domain. If I am capable to convey my idea about third paragraph and the house is satisfied, can we switch to the fourth paragraph? No question. Okay. Now, in fourth paragraph, we are doing nothing. We are simply giving variation analysis, what was written in para number 2, what is written in para number 3, and these are the points of variations.
Sir,
Yes, brother.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. This is Dr. Gurvishal Sinha, sir. I want to ask one question.
Yes, please.
Sir, what is this idealistic? Idealistic means that is a process which is ideal in nature. That means it is a principle which is practiced. And standard proposition means what the people practice.
That's why
This
I
means-
put slash in between.
Yeah, that means ideally it should be done in this way, but the people do it in this way. This is a standard proposition.
No, there are two things. First, how a concept is in ideal form, how society at large understand about it. I'm giving a simple example. Brother, I'll gift you a mobile phone, correct? Immediately, all other participants in the mind, they will characterize the minimum characteristic and feature of mobile phone, correct?
Correct.
Having one screen, minimum apps will be there. And tomorrow I'll give you that chota wala keypad wala mobile phone. कहते साहब ये देना था तो gift करने की जरूरत भी नहीं थी. Why? Mobile phone is mobile phone in both the way. As a device technical term, you say both are mobile. But if I use term mobile or wherever the mobile term sounds, how society at large conceptualize it. So that's why in both the way, where there are certain concepts which have not been systematically studied, yes, we try to take operative meaning by which the society at large conceptualize that aspect.
Okay.
So that's why alternative.
Operational.
Yes, brother. Alternatively, this is not watertight jacket formula. I am simply trying to convey my idea. मैं जो आप आ रहा हूं, this is a model which I developed. There may be number of limitations there. Correct?
Okay.
Means in the second paragraph, we try to introduce the concept. Suppose concept is what we can say disease, that is coronavirus. In medical science, they use a different language of discussion about this thing. For a layman, they use a different expression to make them understand. Got the point?
Okay. That means SOPs, standard operating procedures.
No,
of
not
the society.
You are conceptualizing it for a layman understanding in a simple language. That's it.
Okay. And what is the realistic proposition of that subject means?
Yes, brother. Very good. How it is transacted in reality in the life or the society.
Okay, filtering of that thought.
Correct. What a simple example I have. What if somebody asks, what is constitution? The day that we are living in India, this is our constitution. Fundamental rights, idealistic proposition is given under the Constitution of India. The way we interact, this is the real part of transacting about fundamental rights and duties or whatever we say.
Okay.
Sometimes there may be mismatch. Sometimes there may be actual matching. So we need to take into consideration both the aspect, how ideally things have been conceived, how really things are transacted in the society. Parliament has a role assigned by the Constitution. Correct? Correct.
Correct.
How parliamentarians are behaving, that is the reality.
Correct.
Whether their actual behavior pattern is in consonance with the idealistic proposition or is there any variation? Simple.
Correct. Correct.
Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir, I got your point. That is idealistically, जैसे यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, it is for teaching, but ideally जो standard procedures उनके हैं
अरे
वो
भाई
बदल
साहब,
गए।
मैं आपको बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल अभी देता हूं। मेरी क्लास, ये सेशन को स्टार्ट करने से पहले आपने एक कोई इमेजिनेशन बनाया होगा। आई एम गोइंग टू लर्न साइंस।
वो मैं आपको बता देता हूँ, इमेजिनेशन क्या था कि यार कुछ वही नॉर्मल एफडीपीज होंगी ऑनलाइन, बट आई वाज फ्रॉम फर्स्ट डे, एवरी प्रोफेसर हु इज इन दिस is a gem of person, because every day I'm getting very new thing. I was just listening you very quietly when I go OIRV. This is a short form of your subject, OIRV. I always document it into the abbreviation OIRV. Then I started filtering it out. Then it gave me a sense that how a normal human being get to a subject and to the practicality. This is what a subject is all about.
Yeah, brother, what I mean to convey, society at large has a preconceived notions, correct?
Yes, yes.
And they visualize the thing only on those parameters.
सर बात बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं, मैं वही एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ।
Wherever reality varies, maybe on positive note or negative note, but variation तो है।
सर वही तो बात है सर, अगर आप किसी से कहिए ना आप यूनिवर्सिटी के प्रोफेसर हैं, तो कहेगा यार आपकी तो बहुत अच्छी नौकरी, बड़े आराम की है। मैं उनसे एक ही बात कहता हूँ, मेरी चेयर पे आके बैठ के देखो।
ट्रू ट्रू ट्रू।
बैठोगे ना तब तुम्हें पता लग जाएगा कि इट इज अ बिग स्प्रिंग। जब तुम्हें पंप करके फेंकेगी ना फुटबॉल ग्राउंड के बाहर, कहेगी पूरी दुनिया में जाओगे अब तुम, तो हवा से दिखाई पड़ेगा व्हाट इज इसका ग्रेविटी, क्या उसको फेंकता है जब ये ऊपर, ये जॉब।
तो जब हम रिसर्च करते तो रिसर्च करते क्या है? दिस इज द गैप बिटवीन एक्सपेक्टेशन एंड द रियलिटी, तभी तो इशू है। ऑल इश्यूज आर अराइजिंग बिकॉज ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर गैप। व्हाट इज सोशल एक्सपेक्टेशन एंड व्हाट इज सोशल रियलिटी?
वो सर वो तो बात है ही है, क्योंकि रियलिटी क्या है ना सर, वो किसी को नहीं पता होती, वो उसी को पता होती है जिसके साथ हो रहा होता है, इसको क्या गेज अप करना है।
Very good. So, brother, what is my suggestion? If we are taking this kind of matters for academics, we need to gauge those variations that you can see in the 4th paragraph.
Okay.
Correct. 4th paragraph is dedicated for variation between para number 2 and para number 3. You can say, yes, there is variation on following points. To what extent? There may be number of sub questions.
सर मैं तो एक चीज आपकी स्लाइड में एक चीज बहुत बढ़िया, एक चीज और ऐड करना चाहूंगा, वो इफ यू अलाउ मी। सर देखिए, एक चीज होती है आइडियलिस्टिक और एक रियलिस्टिक। मैंने अपनी लाइफ में एक चीज एग्जिबिट करी, जब आइडियलिस्टिक कोई चीज होती है और उसको रियलिस्टिक हम करते हैं, लेकिन कभी कभी उसको रियलिटी में जहां जाना है अगर वो डेविएशन नहीं कंट्रोल किया जाता तो वो कोई और ही रियलिटी बन जाती है।
यस ब्रदर, उसको मैं भी आपको आगे बताना चाहता हूँ। अभी तो इन द फ्लो ऑफ दिस डिस्कशन में सिर्फ ये बता रहा हूँ कि आप इंट्रोडक्शन में क्या लिखेंगे।
ओके।
इंट्रोडक्शन का 4th पैराग्राफ आई एडवाइज टू डेडिकेट ओनली फॉर द गैप एंड वेरिएशन बिटवीन द अबव।
बात वही है, अगर समय पे नहीं समझे तो वही होगा जो अब रशिया यूक्रेन के बीच, ना रशिया बचेगा ना यूक्रेन बचेगा।
करेक्ट।
Both are not going to get. आज मैं न्यूज देख रहा था, बिल्कुल स्टैंडर्ड आपका ये वेरिएशन बिटवीन आइडियलिस्टिक एंड रियलिस्टिक, दिस वाज एट आज तक कि व्हाट दे वांट, ना आइडियली रशिया रह पाएगा ना रियलिस्टिकली अब यूक्रेन रहेगा। बोथ ऑफ देम गेट फिनिश्ड।
नाउ
आई गॉट द सब्जेक्ट सर, हाउ टू राइट इट।
थैंक यू ब्रदर। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
Why because sir, because I am putting some details into very big economic forums and all that, so that the things should be done into the European part. So I am not able to write properly how these things have. Today's lecture has contributed what basically how you operate SOPs into that area.
Correct.
This is excellent thing. Excellent thing, sir.
Thank you, brother. So any other question?
And I want that if the person who are listening over here, they can provide your and every instructor the video lectures, please. Because
whatever material I am sharing with you, discussing here is available for you. I'll share with the organizers and I'll request them to share my material with all of you.
Correct, sir. Correct.
Yeah. So, friend, this 4th paragraph, this is specifically we are going to highlight. The first question is there is a variation. Answer may be yes or no. Sometimes people are happy and satisfied that there is no variation. Second thing, if there is variation, what are identified indicators or points of variation that need to be addressed in this paragraph. These are the four standard paragraphs. After addressing this fourth paragraph, we will switch to impact of variation. आप जो कहते हैं ना कि हम statement of problem में क्या लिखते हैं, statement of problem में कुछ भी नहीं होता. That is impact of variation. Impact of variation, how this variation is harmful for the society. How this variation is not capable to achieve the objective. How this variation is multiplying with the impact factors. Got the point? Education, professional courses, teaching pedagogy, what is expected, what is reality, there is variation. Obviously, there may be variation in each and every instances. Everything cannot be carried as per your choices. Whether those variation have any impact on your para number 1, that you need to address in your 5th paragraph. Hope all participants are taking note of this point.
Yes, sir. Yes.
This
Certainly.
variation is not allowing us to achieve objectives. These variations are mitigating its importance. These variations are somewhere creating otherwise problem to the society. These variations are multiplying with the evil effects. So these 4 paragraphs, you need to summarize in the 5th paragraph that this is the impact of variation. And 6th paragraph, you address, kindly take note, it is not reflecting on the PPT. The 6th paragraph, we say that there is a need to identify, address this problem with rigor academic exercise. And you also acknowledge the existing measures. And you also advise that there is a need to undergo an in-depth academic research to address the problem, its impact, whatever it is. In introduction, you have spoke enough about your research domain. Friends, this is one model. As per your requirement, you can customize your according to topic, according to your research, whether it is explanatory, descriptive, diagnostic, remedial, comparative, whatsoever research model you follow, only you can make your own points. Shall we proceed to next?
Yes, sir, sure.
Thank you. This point I have already well discussed without coming to this point, that all those points I have while discussing first slide, positive connotation and negative connotation, these are certain examples. Fundamental right, democracy, marriage, information technology, artificial intelligence. Misuse of artificial intelligence will not itself questioning the validity of artificial intelligence. If somebody is misusing it, it was not intended. Negative connotations, I have given example, rape, abuse, theft, anarchy, corruption. You cannot change the nature inherently per se what these things. Now, what is your role? That I have selected X domain. Either I apprise, I analyze, or criticize. Mobile devices are adversely affecting the academic health of children. Mobile devices are affecting health of children. If your child's health is affected because of using mobile devices in unfair manner, it does not mean that the mobile device should be blamed. You need to understand, see the scope, for what purpose, what object it was devised. In reality, in what way or manner you are using. A man can go away with his family. A man can go away from his real near and dear relatives. A man cannot go away from his mobile phone even while entering in the washroom. This is the reality. Obviously, if we are using something which is beyond its scope, now research perception is projected here. I use the term X and appraisal. Artificial intelligence and appraisal. It is reflecting my hypothesis. From the title per se itself, it denotes that the researcher is going to speak about the merits, positive aspects of it. Analyze and X analysis. I don't know whether the particular concept or the device or the area of study is positive in nature or negative in nature. Let me analyze. Critical analyze. I'm going to analyze in a neutral manner. I'm going to highlight evil effect or bad effect. These are simply in certain examples. Now, in the previous slide, I have used this term, objective importance impact. Here you can see this explanation. Where the subject is known, you start writing about the objectivity. Subject is new and unknown, you start speaking about its uses and importance. Subject is negative in nature, you start writing with its effect on individual's life, social life, nation's life. If I say, here you can see that I construct a topic about a law. Women protection laws in India and appraisal. I mean to convey through this title that the laws are good and healthy and enough to tackle the social reality in the society about protecting the interest of women. If I write in a negative manner, I write in a different way. That is sorry, just a minute. Yeah, if I write in a negative manner, I would say women protection laws in India are critical study. Though laws are good inherent in nature, but its implementation is not up to the mark. There is abuse, misuse of those laws, Domestic Violence Act. If I do not know what is the impact analysis of this particular law, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I'll write women protection laws in India and analysis. Let's see whether the law is good in terms of implementation or not good. Now, friends, I am going to deal with another very interesting thing. When you analyze in your work, what kind of observations you find? Idealistic standards or the measures are greater than the reality. One of my friend has just mentioned that while joining, I thought this will be a kind of ordinary, but performance is better than expectation. Performance is better than expectation. Or sometimes performance is not up to the mark. Simple example I am giving you. I prepare a question paper. And a student says, sir, paper was very tough. My student could not perform well. Whether there was a defect in question paper or there was defect in the part of the performance of a student, that is the question. Same thing happened with the law. Provisions are stringent. Law is not good. There is a need to aware the society. Majority of cases, as being a law teacher, we speak and discuss about intellectual property regime. These are really technical laws. So whether we need to make the laws simple to develop familiarity, or do we need to aware the society that these are the provisions should be understood in this way or manner. Idealistic propositions are high, reality is lesser. Now my studies suggest there is a scope, need of improvement in existing social action relating to the subject. That means social behavior need to be improved. Social awareness is required. Real social condition of the subject is not up to the expectations. Yes, Professor Bose.
Sir, just want to know.
Yes, brother.
Realistic standards are greater than realistic proportion. Will there be any situation where the realistic proportion will be better than even idealistic? Possible?
Yes, yes, brother. I'll come to that point. First, I want to make you clear. This is simply my whatever I am expressing. This was just in my mind to express in this way. I'm not saying that this is the only way to express idea, and these are the only conclusive analysis and suggestion. These are some examples I'm sharing with you. So the first says that realistic law is better and implementation is not up to the mark. So shall we propose to repeal the law? 90% legal study, the research scholar writes that the law to be amended. Everywhere he writes law to be amended. We need to check what kind of variation is there. Whether the laws are achieving the objectives given in the constitution, but the reality we are not able to match. We need to suggest procedural improvements. We need to suggest some awareness. We need to change social behavioral pattern to achieve that objective. पहला क्वेश्चन पेपर सर बहुत टफ था, दूसरा बहुत इजी बना दिया, बच्चे भी खुश, पूरे 100% पास. Is this the justification? Now need to see the objectivity, for what purpose, what object it has been. Those standards measures have been made by the society. Got the point? So here I have also given these examples, purpose of the study and nature of the study. The purpose of the study is to suggest improvements in existing solution relating to the subject. Nature of the study says the real social condition of the subject is not up to the expected standard. So all those methods means remedies required, we need to adopt there. Now, what Professor Bose has just asked about, social reality is better than expected standards. Professor Bose, remember I mentioned about Motor Vehicle Act Amendment 2019. This is a real example which I observed. Before passing of this law, the people had the habit of driving car on Yamuna Expressway on full speed to what extent they are capable to drive. After this act, immediately I found that all cars were playing in a controlled manner, because previous law penalty was less. Penalty was not capable to create fear in the mind of the violators of law. I prepare a question paper with that standard of difficulties. All students are scoring 100% marks. I praise myself. Professor Pandey is the best teacher in this world. Is all students in the classroom are getting 100% marks. कहते साहब आप जानता नहीं है. Now see your standard. Now see your standard. Now this is the time to raise your standards, raise your benchmark. The social reality of the subject is better than the expected standards. Here you need to change, amend your norms, amend your expectations. Social variable factors are always dynamic. A particular practice, particular concept might be appreciable 10 years back, cannot be appreciable after 10 years. और मजेदार बात तो साहब ये है कि 2020 के पहले किसी से हैंडशेक नहीं किया तो बड़ी बदतमीजी समझी जाती थी, और ड्यूरिंग कोविड किसी से हैंडशेक कर लिया तो भी बदतमीजी समझी जाती. बात सही क्या है ये नहीं समझ में आता. Social factors have changed. Measures have changed. Parameters have changed. And if you are not revisiting your parameters time to time, one day you will realize that the society is ahead than your expectations and norms. Vice versa, the purpose of the study says to suggest improvement in existing standards according to social needs. Now again, go back to my first slide. Para number 2, para number 3, you are seeing the justification. Whether para 2 is correct, then C need to be improvised. My research will advise what are those to strengthen the social behavior, social reality. Para 3 is better, 2 is weaker. Then my entire research is focusing on the concept which I have discussed in para number 2. That you need to revisit come up with new definitions, new parameters, new considerations you need to incorporate there. Existing social standards are not in tune to able to regulate the social reality. Still, you are dealing with domain para number 1, para number 2, para number 3. Shall we move to next slide?
Yes, sir.
कभी ऐसा भी हो जाता है, सॉरी, ऐसा भी होता है. No variation arises. My study suggests that there was no variation. What was expectation? What was the objective of law? And it is serving that reality. In this situation, this kind of study is suggested, analytical or appraisal. One law is replaced by another law. One social practice or device or model is replaced by another. People say they are fundamentalists, those who are behind the previous aspect. People say no, there are reasons not to adopt any foreign model or new model. Then we see whether the concept which was existing, what is the social reality, is it capable to serve the purpose? Yes, it is capable. Now my hypothesis says, now there is a need to aware the society. This is explanatory descriptive research by which I am going to deduce the positive aspects. Employer Ramlal, employee Shyamlal, Ramlal appointed with the service conditions. After 6 months, Ramlal decided to expel Shyamlal. His advisor says, no, please review. What were your expectations? All these expectations are satisfied. Kindly analyze. They make hypothesis. Hypothesis proved that there is no variation arises. It does not mean there is no variation, there is no scope of research. There is a scope of research. I need to advise the society that one model should not be replaced by another model. Got the point? Now, rest of the research methodological part you deal in your this chapter 1. As I can this is a research methodology I am just showing in very briefly. We write in the introductory part about title of the study, then nature of the study, then review of nature, hypothesis, research question, rationale of the study. What is rationale of the study? I write how this study would be beneficial, to whom it would be beneficial, in what manner it would be beneficial. If my topic research goes well, then how this research would be beneficial, who would be benefited, intended beneficiaries, expected beneficiaries of this study. Then whatever methods I will adopt for the study, this is all the matter of research design. Now, following the research design, you are going to speak about your chapterization. Through this discussion, you are capable to write your introduction. Can I request the organizers, Ashish ji, what is the time limit for this session?
Sir, it is till 6:30, sir.
Wonderful, brother. So I'll try to finish in next 15 minutes. Don't worry.
Sure, sir, sure. So you may extend also. The lecture is really interesting.
Thank you. Now, this work you have done, correct? Now I am coming to the next discussion. What about the rest of the part? Chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. Briefly, I am coming to that point. Although I have PPT, I can share with you that I'll supply, but because of time constraint, I am just discussing. What should be the title of your chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, or chapter 5, whatsoever? All chapterizations except introduction and conclusions shall be in tune with your research objectives. First point. Research objectives should not be made in a form of generalized statement. All research objectives have to be dealt specifically. Suppose I say objective number 1, objective number 2, objective number 3, and objective number 4. My objective number 1 is about X, 2 is about Y, 3 is about Z, 4 is about whatsoever. Relation between X and Z. My title of chapter number 2 will deal about chapter objective number 1. There is no other bypass rule. Please try to follow. Whatever, suppose I have 4 chapters. For 4 research objectives, I will have only 6 chapters. There cannot be 5 chapters or 7 chapters. Why? Each chapter is dealing with one research objective. And while formulating, designing your chapterization scheme, you need to follow the same order and the coherence in which you have ordered your research objective. My objective number 1 will be dealt under chapter number 2. Objective number 2 will be dealt under chapter number 3. Objective number 3 will be dealt under chapter number 4. 4 will be dealt under chapter number 5, and last is the conclusion and suggestions. What you are going to write in the remaining chapters. I say, for example, I do not know what is the nature of X. I don't know what is nature of X, and then I write a question. What is nature of X? I transform this question in the form of research objective to analyze or to study the nature of X. My first objective says to study nature of X. My title of chapter number 2 is what? Nature of X? Nothing. What I am going to write in first paragraph in that chapter 2? In first paragraph, I will speak about research objective. That this chapter is dealing with that research objective, which was research objective number 1, where the author, scholar, spoke about the nature of chapter, X. On what basis, what kind of inquiry you are going to propose? In second paragraph, I mentioned that this was the research question or the hypothesis which was framed to address this research objective. First paragraph start with the research objective, which will be dealt under this chapter. Second paragraph will speak about either hypothesis or research question following with that objective. Third paragraph, whether I have followed inductive reasoning or deductive reasoning, following with that on the basis of what questions or indicators I am going to analyze. Rest of the headings and subheadings are nothing. Simply those indicators on the basis of which I am going to deal my research objective. At the last, in that chapter, on the basis of that analysis, what are my findings? Whether I got the answer of my objective, yes, to what extent, what manner, next point, hypothesis proved or disproved, if proved, to what extent, disproved, why? What are other experiences that researcher has while dealing with that research objective, you are going to narrate there. Moving further, my chapter objective number 2, come to chapter number 3. My objective number 2 says the comparison between X and Y. My title says a comparative study of X and Y. Following the same pattern, first, objective, hypothesis question, indicators, methods, about data, and then rest of the main body of analysis, followed with conclusion and suggestions of that chapter. Hypothesis proved, disproved, question answered not, to what extent, that has to be tackled. Then at the last, whatever you summarize in the conclusion of respective chapter, you are going to develop your conclusion and suggestions. In conclusion part, I say my objective number 1, hypothesis 1 was proved this extent. Chapter objective number 2 was tackled in next chapter. These are the observations and findings. All you deal in that particular order. One more thing, friends, I wish to tell: while doing research, kindly consider about the age of your knowledge. At least if you are doing PhD or research, that observation suggestions you are giving, it should be sustainable for a period of time. If I'm working and the idea has been vanished by the subsequent development or which is beyond my control, so as a researcher, you don't hold the responsibility, but the researcher has, while proposing any new concept, conclusion, observation, and specifically suggestions, that has to be made with full sense of responsibility. That has to be made specifically, that has to be made with certain limitations and disclosure about the validity of data, validity of your results. So friends, within this time framework, I have started with introduction, came up to conclusion and suggestions. Now we have rest 9 minutes. House is open for discussion.
Just my one question.
Yes.
It's not a question, rather my query. Sir, what would be the idealistic objectives? How many objectives we should put that in the...
Yes, this is a very significant question. I find in thesis 8, 9, 10, ideally minimum 3, maximum 5, you cannot tackle. Actually, less than 3, there is no justification. More than 5, you cannot justify. So ideally, I feel that research objective should not be less than 3, more than 5, one thing. But major confusion among the research scholars have how to formulate research objective. Friends, research objective is nothing. This is the requisite knowledge which is not possessed by the researcher. That's it. Requisite knowledge to resolve problem, possessed knowledge, I reflect an introductory part. Unpossessed knowledge, I just structure in my research objective. The research objective is nothing. This is unpossessed knowledge, which by way of study, the researcher is going to explore that knowledge. So minimum 3, maximum 5, but this is only suggestive. There is no such watertight jacket formula.
Okay, sir. In that case, supposing we go for 5 objectives,
yeah,
should it be idealistic 7 chapters? Are you saying?
Yes, appropriately there would be 7 chapters.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Any other question?
Dear participants, any other questions?
Sir, good evening. This is Dr. Meenakshi. Is this section, this session will be available in our session section? This entire session will...
Meenakshi is saying something I am not able to understand.
Madam, can you please repeat?
No, madam. It was an excellent session indeed. Thank you so much. What I am asking is, will this entire session will be available for us in any form, in any way? Because
she is asking about PPT, I think.
Yes.
No, not only PPT. Not only
sir.
PPT.
Yes.
The SAS explanations are extraordinary.
PPT I will supply not only this.
How to approach the professor of music. Whereas
excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir. I am asking not only for PPT, your entire lecture I want, sir.
Yes, so recording I think must be available with the organizers. I request organizer to supply. Yes, brother.
Yes, that's what. Yes, sir.
हिमांशु सर,
Because I am a student of...
जितना ऑब्जेक्टिव होगा
जी,
जितना ऑब्जेक्टिव होगा उतना ही चैप्टर होगा.
जी हाँ, मिनिमम चैप्टर तो उतने होना ही पड़ेगा, क्योंकि देखिए हम ऑब्जेक्टिव सेपरेट क्यों बनाते हैं. Every objective should be specific. I say this is characteristics of X. One inquiry, ना सबको क्लब कर देते. Characteristics of X, relation of X with Y, impact of X, all these things should not be mixed. One inquiry should be tackled in one objective, another inquiry should be tackled in another objective. First, I say that what is the nature of X? This is one inquiry. Second, I say what is the relation of X with Y? This is second inquiry. Third is what is impact of X on Z? This is third inquiry. What are the benefits of X? This is fourth inquiry. What are demerits? This is fifth inquiry. Every inquiry has to be specifically, it should not be mixed with another inquiry. What the point?
Yes, sir.
What is chapterization? One aspect I'm dealing in one chapter, another aspect inquiry I'm dealing in another chapter. And apart from these objective standard chapter, that is opening and closing, introduction and conclusion, suggestions will remain. Prefix and suffix.
Okay, sir.
An excellent lecture, sir.
Hello.
Wonderful, excellent, very informative, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, brother. You are very much audible.
Thank you very much for your very interesting lecture for today. It is very interesting and knowledgeable. Actually, I want to ask the Kiran ma'am. As we used to do the FDPs prior to this. There is the lecture available on my e-class.
Sir, I think that system is there. Gaurav sir is there. Gaurav sir. Gaurav sir, are you there?
All lectures are very important, ma'am. We have.
Yes.
I'm searching a status lecture, but it's not there.
I think Gaurav sir can answer it. I think they are going to put up it. Gaurav sir, I'll just call him and we'll make it sure that it will be put up.
Yes. Thank you very much, ma'am.
I think it is recorded one. The live video to YouTube is also going on.
Okay, ma'am.
So I think it will be available.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much.
So, dear participants and respected sir, I hope I am also audible.
Yes, audible.
Yes. So, on behalf of everyone, that is Dr. Kiran Sharma madam and the Joy Pinale group and all the participants, I must wholeheartedly thank our resource person, Dr. Himanshu Pandey, professor at MNLU Nagpur, for such an enlightening, informative, and very wonderful session that he has given. And at least I must say on behalf of all that, as far as this session is concerned, the reality and the expectation, in fact, the graph is going, it is better than the idealistic expectation. So the reality the chart has been on a higher frame than the expectation also. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Namaste. Thank you.